I believe we have a good overview of the information needed in the preparing of an STS transfer operation. I am glad that you took a close look at the risk assessments and contingency plans. In the meantime, I have talked with the master and he confirmed that the engine controls and the main propulsion plant ahead and stern have just been tested. They have also cleaned the boilers and tubes of soot. Before the pre-operational meeting, we need to check the most important equipment and make an agenda for the meeting. Will you make the agenda for the meeting while waiting for the chief officer to join us for the equipment checks? Yes, we need to go through a lot at the pre-operational meeting to be sure that the operation is carried out in the safest possible way. Hi, David. Good you could join us for a quick check of equipment before the briefing on the bridge. This is Nick, my new trainee.
Pleased to meet you, Nick. Should we start with the cargo hoses, now that we're so close to them?
Good idea. Of course, I have already checked the hoses before they were transported from shore, but we still need to check the damage that could have occurred during the transport. The hoses are closed now by blanking covers, so it is not possible to check inside. This is therefore a visual inspection we must make at this stage. Nick, will you take a look at the cargo hoses and tell us where to look for weakness at the most vulnerable spots? This hose seems to be correctly connected. There are no signs of weaknesses in the most vulnerable spots. But of course we must start with a low pressure to be sure that they are tight before full pressure is put on the cargo transfer.
No problem here either.
Before we go on, I will just inform the bosun and the crew where to attach the lifting ropes when hoisting the two hose ends to the Rio later on.
All the fair leads on the Mary are closed, as they should be. And there are no sharp edges, which could damage the lines.
I agree, they look all right. Nick, as a superintendent, it will be your responsibility to inspect the fenders visually, both prior to and after each transfer. Do you know what are the main areas to look for when checking the fender riggings? Yes, the main problems areas you should look for when checking the fender riggings are damage to chain and tire net, slipped or split tires, or stretched or corroded chain, and fender moorings and arrangements. And everything here seems to be okay. Then you also need to check the fenders. What would you look for here? On the actual fender, you need to look for blistering, cuts, abrasions, damage to the fender body, and check for potential safety valve or filling valve damages. But at this stage, it is only a visual inspection of the fenders. The thorough inspection of the fenders was made ashore. I think we have a problem with the mooring lines. According to the mooring plan, we need 12 lines for the operation, plus a couple of additional lines in case of line failure. There are only 13 lines on board, and 2 of those lines are too damaged to use. Look how it's cut here. So we need to replace the 2 damaged lines and bring another spare in place. Could you take care of that, David?
Of course. I was informed by the second officer that all mooring ropes were checked and found okay. I will see to it that replacing of the damaged rope is arranged. I'm sure we have at least 3 additional spares in store.
Yes, if not, we need to postpone the operation.
Of course, but I will check our stores right away.
Okay, before the briefing on the bridge with the officers, we need to run through my inspection list to be sure we haven't missed anything. Could you help me with that?
And regarding the oil pollution prevention equipment, can you tell me what will need to be prepared? Yes, a lot needs to be prepared for the risk of pollution. This is something we all have to be absolutely aware of. The exact number of absorbent oil boom pads, sawdust bags and oil drums depend on the site of the vessel. But you can read all about this in the vessel's Shipboard Oil Pollution Emergency Plan, also called SOPEP. Hi, good to see you all again. As you know, I will be in overall charge of the upcoming STS operation. I have Nick Carter, my superintendent trainee, with me. Nick, you have already met John and David, and this is the second officer, William, and the third officer, Robert. First of all, I just need to know if we have all the mooring lines we need. I just made an inspection of the fenders and mooring arrangement with Nick and David, and 2 of the mooring lines were too damaged to use. Do you have new lines in store, David?
Yes, we actually had 3 new mooring lines in store, so no problem there.
Fantastic. And what about the safety procedures? Can you fill me in on that, John?
Sure. We have carried out all the preparations, including a safety meeting with all on board prior to our arrival. You have also received the risk assessment and contingency plan, plus the obligatory checklists. We have also been through checklist number 6. You can see it here. And we, as well as the Rio, have confirmed that STS checklist number 1 has been completed.
Okay, then there is the cargo. Can you give me the details?
Yes, the total quantity to be transferred from the Mary is metric tons Gulfax light crude.
Thanks, Robert. It matches fine with my own estimation of a total transfer time around 35 hours. William, could you give me a briefing concerning the weather and navigational conditions?
I have tested the navigation equipment and it's working fine. The weather and sea state and the traffic movements are checked frequently, and when I last checked, just before this meeting, the conditions at the agreed meeting point were still fine. Wind, south-southwest 5 meters per second. Current, 035 degrees, at 0.4 knots. Sea, 3 with no swell.
Perfect. With these conditions, we can stick to the plan for run-in and mooring as it is. So let's take a look at it. We are now in this position, approximately 2 nautical miles east of the rendezvous position. The mooring plan also needs some attention. As you can see, we need 4 lines both in front and aft, and 2x2 lines amidships. I understand that William will lead the forward mooring team, and Robert is to lead the aft mooring team, each with a total of at least 4 persons. At the beginning, when we start working with the bow lines, Robert's team must be ready to assist with the forward spring lines, as the head ropes and the forward springs are the first lines to be made fast. As soon as the forward springs are fast, Robert, with his team, will move to the poop and prepare for the stern ropes. The 2 aft springs will be the last lines to make fast. Do you have any questions relating to this procedure? Okay, if you don't have more to add, I will now fill in checklist number 2 and make contact with Michael Jones, the master at the Rio, to align our efforts. Nick, you checked the risk assessment. Could you also take a closer look at the contingency plan? Hi, this is Peter Janssen, Superintendent on Motor Tanker Mary. I'm calling to exchange pre-arrival information and get the obligatory confirmation of the STS checklist.
Hi, Peter. Michael Jones, master at Motor Tanker Rio here. I'm informed that you're in overall charge of the operation, and that suits me fine. I can confirm that the STS checklist is completed.
Good. Then we are ready to start. Of course, we both have the responsibility for a safe operation, and you will remain in command of the Rio. And both we and the crew should be able to go through the operation with English as working language.
Yes, everyone on my ship knows the standard marine communication phrases and speaks English fluently. I understand that we both maintain a security level of 1.
That's right. Regarding the timetable, I want you to pick up your anchor at 10:30 hours and proceed to the rendezvous position north 50 degrees, 32 minutes, 09 seconds, and west 002 degrees, 57 minutes, 17 seconds. We are aiming to start the operation at 1200 hours, so please ensure that you are ready in all respects.
We have no problems in meeting your time schedule. And as agreed, the berthing operation will be with both ships underway.
Yes, when we start the operation, I want you to steer 195 degrees true and increase speed to 4.5 knots. I anticipate the run-in and mooring to take some 2 to 3 hours, as I have been informed that you changed crew last night when arriving.
That's correct. My crew should be able to complete the mooring operation in no more than 3 hours.
Okay, and please keep me well updated on any irregularities during the run-in phase. We don't want any personal injuries or other accidents.
Certainly not. When do you reckon we can finish the cargo transfer?
If all goes well, I anticipate complete cargo transfer around 2200 hours tomorrow. But as you probably know, night operations are not permitted here, so I think we will not split the vessels until daybreak Thursday morning. Please confirm that this is understood and that your engines can maintain 4.5 knots for 1 to 2 hours.
It's both understood and confirmed.